It is August, which means we have reached one of the best times to snag some last minute deals on cruising. Now, when I say that, people typically say, but wait, it's hurricane season. You can't cruise during hurricane season. And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. So in this video, I want to share some of my top tips for cruising hurricane season and tell you guys why this is the time that I cruise more than ever during the year. So be sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe if you're new here, and let's get into this video. Happy August, y'all. Welcome back. I'm Jennifer Danielle. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. If you are returning, welcome back. Now, let's talk about hurricane season in this whole situation. Now, thinking about travel just on a regular basis, most people plan their vacations in the summer. I typically talk about Virgin Voyages, which is an adults only cruise line. And so you would think that the pricing wouldn't impact an all adults line because most of the time you have families that are cruising over the summer, but it's not true because across the board, when it comes to flights, cruises, every cruise line is more expensive in the summer. So that is one reason why I typically avoid cruising in the summer, because y'all know, like, I like nice things, but I like to go on a budget. So I try to cruise as affordably as possible, and that's how I'm able to do so many trips. And so one of the ways that I'm able to do multiple trips is by cruising during hurricane season. And the reason why things are so much cheaper around this time is that people are back in school. You don't have the influx of people traveling, and a lot of times from like August up until the holidays, like early November, people early aren't traveling. So being that the demand is down, the prices are going to come down, and that's going to give you more opportunity to cruise. So if you weren't aware, hurricane season actually runs from June 1st to November 30th. Now, remember, I just told you guys the majority of people are traveling over the summertime, hence the price hikes. So that means people are usually traveling, cruising, and doing every means of travel during hurricane season. So the thing that I have noticed as a cruiser is that it seems that the most impact happens around October into like late November. But you guys know I host a group cruise every November. We have never had any significant impact outside of rain. Now I'm gonna knock on wood on that one because I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. But I cruise during this time every year and have been cruising during this time every year for the past 4 years now. And so that means that, you know, it really is up to chance if you're going to have impact. But if you are impacted, here's what you can expect. Now, the cruise lines, 9 times out of 10, they are doing everything within their power to not cancel a cruise. So what you can expect to happen is possibly your ports be changed. So, you know, maybe you may get to a potential stop and the ship can't stop there. And so you have an additional sea day, which is actually what I experienced in January, which is outside of hurricane season. So if you guys remember for my cruise with me January, we were going to Bimini, Bahamas, and they said that the wind was so high that we actually couldn't stop. So we had an additional sea day that day. So, you know, I hated it. It sucked not being able to go to that port. But of course, you know, you want safety first. So if there is a hurricane, the majority of the time in my experience, what I've seen is going to happen is you're going to possibly miss a port. The ship will maybe go to somewhere else, or they're going to figure out a way to maneuver your days, maneuver your stops to miss it. So they will go further out into the ocean to miss the hurricane. I've seen that happen. And I think from my experience in just kind of what I've seen over the years, the only time I've seen a port be canceled is like the ship couldn't come back on a particular day to, I think it was Tampa, if I'm not mistaken, because some damage had happened to the port as a result of the hurricane. So they had to stay out at sea another couple days. Now that is a very rare case, but that is just in my experience what I have seen as far as impact. The majority of the time, there's no impact to your cruise other than maybe some rain, maybe some lower temperatures. Now, you guys may remember last year I did a budget cruise series, and the reason why I was able to do it was because I was able to snag so many deals during this time of year. So if you guys don't know, Memorial Day is right around the corner, and usually cruise lines will run a sale for that. So this video is being recorded early August, and so hopefully you guys see this in time and have got your coins together, and you just kind of sit and wait to see what pops up up on the websites in the next couple of weeks because there probably will be sales from every cruise line. So last year I was able to do the MSC Seashore for, I think it was $300 for an interior room as a solo traveler. I also did Carnival Conquest, and that was under $400 if I'm not mistaken. There were some Virgin Voyages cruises that were about $1,000, which, their cruises usually begin in like the $1,500 to $2,000 range. So significant savings there. So the deals are on the way, but you just have to be able to sail during this time of year. Usually do something last minute. And when I say last minute, I mean within the next few months before the year ends. So it doesn't have to be like you find a deal and you cruise next week. Like last minute is considered in the next 3 to 4 months. So just kind of keep that in mind as I'm telling you these things, and just know you have to be flexible if you want to take advantage of this. Now, let's talk about some tips for hurricane season because you need to know what you're getting into. So, as I mentioned in the last little segment, the first thing you need to do is be flexible. If there is somewhere that is on your dream bucket list and you book a cruise just because you want to go to a specific port, I would say this probably is not the time that you want to do that because, if there happens to be bad weather, if there happens to be a hurricane in the area, first, the place that you go, if you do dock there, it may not be the environment that you were looking for or the experience you want because it could be raining, the weather could be bad, anything like that. And also there is a chance that that port could get canceled. So, if you're someone who is not flexible on where you go, if you are like going to cruise just to go to a specific place, this probably is not the time that you want to cruise. The next thing that you want to do if you cruise this time of year is get insurance. Insurance. I cannot say it enough. If you guys don't know, we're about a year to the point of time where I was actually stranded in New York because of a storm that passed through. And this was the first time that I actually had to spend the night in the airport. I did not have travel insurance, which, guys, I know I should have. It was literally no excuse. I was getting it the next week, though. I just was not expecting this to happen. So a bad rainstorm passed through. There were so many canceled flights and delays that there were no hotels that were available. When you fly, they do not have to give you a hotel or put you up because your flight is canceled when it's due to weather. So that's some information if you didn't know. So it's really good to have travel insurance in place. Now, I always tell people to get Allianz. That's what I have is now a yearly plan, which covers all of my trips for the year. It's really inexpensive. And so I'm going to put some information about them in the description. So if you're interested in getting them, definitely read through what they offer. But I highly recommend having at least a trip insurance plan for the one vacation that you're going on. And if you travel frequently, just go ahead and get it for the year because it's really not that expensive. But what insurance is going to do is a lot of times if you miss a specific port or any of your ports, they're going to pay you a amount of money for that happening. They're going to cover your bags if something were to happen. So a lot of times when it comes to storms and canceled flights, your bags get misplaced and, get put anywhere around the airport. So if that were to happen, they're going to cover that in addition to the cost of your cruise if your cruise gets canceled. So if you're traveling during hurricane season, I highly, highly recommend having insurance. Like it's literally a requirement. This may seem like common sense, but sometimes when I go on vacation, I forget this. Watch the weather. Literally pull up the weather app on your phone and look up the places that you're going and take a look at what the weather is going to be like. That helps me with knowing to bring a poncho or umbrella or remembering to pack those because they are very expensive when you get to these places and you need them. And so that's definitely a tip too that I'm going to put in with Watch the Weather is just go ahead and order you a poncho from Amazon. I'll link one in the description, but go ahead and order you a poncho or some type of umbrella jacket or something that is going to help you if you're out at these ports and you happen to get wet, because that does happen. Like I got rained on so bad in the Dominican Republic during my group cruise last year. If you guys don't remember, I put some clips here. My hair was destroyed. I was upset and they did not have ponchos for sale. So pack that. watch the weather just so you'll know what to expect. And I think that when you're cruising during this time of year, you kind of can expect that something may happen. The weather is going to be, cooler or, a little different than what you would experience in the summer. So just go ahead, watch the weather, know what's coming, and keep up with the hurricanes that are forming, because believe it or not, they have advanced notice of if these hurricanes are coming. Like a lot of times, I'm going to give you in the next tip, we're going to talk about Facebook and joining the Facebook groups, but a lot of times people know well in advance that this is going to happen. So be sure to watch and, just keep up. So Facebook groups are put together by usually travel agents, but every cruise has them. This is a tip that I give to solo travelers who want to meet others or get an idea of who's on their cruise. Join the Facebook group for your specific date. A lot of times you can put the cruise line name, the date, or it'll have like the itinerary there. There are different examples. I'll show you guys one here, but whoever it is puts these groups together. And a lot of times there are people in there that are studying everything for the trip. I'm not that person that studies everything. Like I study it for you all when I'm giving you information, but I'm not that person that keeps up with every little thing. But there are people in this group that are going to keep up with when hurricanes are forming. They're going to know what's happening with the weather. And a lot of times that is going to be where you're going to find out the information before you get on the ship of what to expect when it comes to weather. So, like I was saying, they know when these hurricanes are coming. Like people are keeping watch. You can look in the weather channel. You can look in the app on your phone. There are so many different ways to know, potential impact ahead of time before you get on the cruise. I understand you don't know when you're booking what to expect, but you will know before you get on the cruise if you will potentially run into a hurricane. Along the line of paying attention to the Facebook group, be sure to pay attention to your emails, because if something were to happen, the cruise line is going to email you. They're not going to call you ahead of time. Like they don't reach out to everybody by phone. They aren't going to send a smoke signal. I don't know. There are a lot of people who I've seen that book trips and just don't look at their emails and don't keep up with what's going on that way. And I don't get it. Like I check my email probably more than my text messages. I tell my clients, when you reach out to me, you probably need to email me before you text or call, because I'm going to see that first. So, keep up with your emails, because that's how the cruise lines are going to communicate with you and let you know of any changes or updates that you need to know. Last but not least, make sure you travel a day early when you are going on a cruise. You guys, like I always say, do not fly in the day of your cruise. You guys know, sometimes I do it. Sometimes I just cannot help it, but it's because I'm in Atlanta and there are direct flights and there are flights all day. And when I do travel the day of, I will say it and shout it from the mountains. I take the first flight out in the morning, which is 5:30 a.m. If I don't have to board the ship till like 1 o'clock, or the latest I can board is 3, leaving out at 5:30 gives me so many chances to get there. If you are anywhere else that does not have a direct flight or anywhere, I say do not chance it when it comes to flying in the day of. If you travel a day early, that's going to give you time to miss any kind of unexpected weather. Like you're going to know what's happening there in Miami. If you're leaving out of Miami, anywhere in Florida is subject to getting hit, and having some type of weather impact of a hurricane. So definitely be sure to travel a day early so that you can plan and you can kind of take things into account, because sometimes you may make the decision that it's not worth it for you to continue with the trip and fly. But if you have that insurance, it may cover you canceling. So that is why I think it is imperative, especially during this time of year, to travel a day early. Well, that's going to do it for these tips and this discussion about cruising during hurricane season. I hope this helps you to make your decision of whether it's worth it. And I hope this helps you ultimately find some amazing deals during this time of year, because they will be out there. Be sure to hit the subscribe on your way out if you have not. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.